What's up, YouTube? It's your dog Buggy, Ocran, and we back with another video. Today we're gonna be doing a mixed breakdown of a song called Waste Time by Bronxlyn featuring me, Buggy Ocran. This is a song that we worked on around, I think, like 2021, maybe 2022. I can't really pinpoint it, but this is a song that I self-produced myself. I recorded it and I mixed it myself too, and I'm also on the hook. So I'm gonna be going through this session. I'm gonna be going through the Pro Tools session. I'm gonna be breaking down my process throughout the mix and how I mixed it. It's similar to how I mix records now, but some things are a little bit different and it's a little bit more stripped down. So I'm gonna go through it and I'm gonna be breaking it down. So with that being said, let's get to it. You dig? I bet. So here's the entire session for the song Waste Time. Like I said, it's a record that I produced a while ago. It's a hip hop / R&B type record. The song is from the artist Bronxlyn. It's out now. So if you want, I'm gonna put the link in the description and you guys can go check it out. But I'm gonna play some of it just so you could listen to what we have here, and then we're gonna go on and break down the entire process of what I was thinking when I was mixing this record. So yeah, let's go ahead and let me play some of this song.
Buggy body, this shit.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. But we ain't got time to waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right. Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. But we ain't got time to waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right. So don't waste my time. Cause we ain't got no time to waste no time. No time. And you know I'm gon' hold you down for life. For life. So come with me, give me all your energy, be mine, be mine.
To bar down, yeah. In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach, just for the week. Make a couple money moves, break you off a piece. Red on your bottom like a murder scene. Double breast, Hugo Boss, no, I keep it clean. West Coast for a year, now she on the east. Get that passport heavy, fly you out the Greece.
All right. I'm not gonna be playing the entire song, but this is basically a sample of the record that I'm gonna be the song that I'm gonna be breaking down in this mix session. So basically, that was a record called Waste Time. It's out now. The artist's name is Bronxlyn, and I'm featured on the hook, Buggy Ocran. So y'all can check it out. I'm gonna link it in the description. So we're gonna go into the session now. We're gonna just break it down how I mixed it, some of the plugins and my thought process while I was mixing it. So let's get to it. All right, bet. So the setup for this, even though I recorded this, all right, let me see the date. All right, so I recorded this. Well, I mixed this. I did the final mix for this December 2021. So that was a little minute ago. But the way that I work seems like kind of still similar. How I have all my stems and everything, and my stems for the beat here, my vocals, and then I have all my plugins down here. I've been working this way for a little minute, you feel me? So I'm pretty sure that's the reason why it's here. So we're gonna check off the master bus. The first thing that I have on the master bus, I can see that some of this is inactive, but I know for sure I have probably an L2 on this Fab Filter L2. I don't think I have the Fab Filter L2 on my computer now. That's probably why it's not showing up. And I use the TR5 Classic Clipper. This is probably just to get more volume. I don't have this plugin, so that's why the plugin is inactive. And Insert 3.4. I'm pretty sure I think I was the one in charge of mastering this record. So when I mastered, I was using I think I mastered this at HMD Studios. So I think I was using like a Neve protocol to get it done. I think that's what the Insert 3 is for, if I can remember. But yeah. So what else I do have is this C4, which is just basically basically taming the low end. Yeah, it's just basically taming the low end, so that's what it's for. So we're gonna go ahead and just get straight to business, how I usually mix my records. We're gonna start off with like the drums and the kicks and stuff. All right, so let's get it. Let's get to the hook. All right, bet. So like you can see. So like y'all can see, I probably didn't do much, just a little bit of EQ. Rolled off like 20, and in the mids like 180, I cut a little bit. So let's see how it sounds with it and without it. So without the EQ, with it. Definitely cleaned it up and made it like a little bit more punchy. So let me see. I think my drums are all going to this drum bus, and it seems like I don't have anything on there. Usually I would compress on a mix bus, drum bus level, but I guess for this record I didn't feel like it needed it. So yeah, let's go. Let's continue. Let's see. Let me get to this drum. Just a little bit of EQ. So without it, it just tamed it a little bit. Took a little bit of the sharpness out and probably cleaned up because I probably felt like it was a little bit muddy. So I cleaned that up a little bit. I'm pretty sure that's what I did that for. Let's see this back snare. Okay, so yeah, it's 2 snares on it. So I'm pretty sure I cut that out just to make it feel like it's 1 snare. So without it, just cut out a little bit of harshness at the 4890 area. And let's see what this is doing right here. Yep, a little bit more sharpness. And that pain frequency is too like resonant, so I'm pretty sure I cut that out just to make it less resonant. And then we have like another clap in here. So for this clap, yeah, so you could see in this mix, like I said, a lot of times when people are mixing records, they think you gotta do a whole lot of EQ. You gotta gut out this, filter this out. But a lot of times, especially that I produced this myself, so I'm pretty sure while I was producing it, I was doing a lot of mixing in the mixing session before I even printed this out to get mixed. So when you get a lot, if you get a good produced record, you don't really gotta do a lot when you mix it. It's when the record isn't exactly where it needs to be, that's when you got to do a lot. So this is good. I didn't do a lot, just got probably rid of a little bit of harshness. Like I said, sometimes when it comes to mixing like the high end, if you you want to remove some harshness and make it sound a little bit more clear, but if you take out too much, you can send it to the artist and then they'll when you send it to the artist, they'll be like, it sounds a little bit dull. It doesn't feel like it got the same life as the demo track. And demo itis is a real thing, so you want to make sure that it sounds close to the demo, but it's still clearer. All right, so let's see. We have these hi-hats. Let's see. Let me zoom in. Zoom into this. All right, but we have these hi-hats here. And it doesn't even seem like I did anything with these hi-hats in terms of EQ-wise. I guess it just feels like it fit. Yeah, I like that. The drums are like very snappy, and the hi-hats are like they're sitting in their own space at the top. So I didn't really feel like it needed anything. And then we have these hi-hats too. These just the hi-hat skitters. They're panned, so these hi-hats are really panned. And so they're already out the way, so we really don't have to do much to it. And at the same time, they're frequency wise, it's not really competing with anything else, at least not of yet. So I'm pretty sure that's the reason why I didn't add anything to it. Let's add these hi-hats in. All right, so with this, I did a little bit of filtering. So let's hear it without it. So this is without it and with it. So I'm pretty sure I was getting rid of some of that low end like rumble, because it probably was competing. It will compete with, even though it's not too audible, it'll probably compete with the low end. Once I start adding in like the bass, once I start adding like vocals and everything else, it'll start competing with that. So that's probably why I got rid of it. And I think I had a transient master, but this is not active here. Let's see. Yes, the plugin is not showing up. So yeah, pretty. I had a transient master just to make it a little bit more snappy, for sure. So once again, let's play it with it and without it. It definitely got a little bit more cleaner, cleaned up and more in your face, it feels like. For this record, it was a bass line and it was 808 as well too. So we're gonna go through like the bass line and we're gonna go through what I did for the 808 as well. So let's get it. And so we have this bass right here. I like that. It's groovy. I bet. So let's see. Let's listen to this bass by itself without anything. So it's like a lot of like high end. Let's play it without it and with it again. And this is like a very low bass. It seems like I cut off a little bit. I cut off a little bit at like 18 hertz. Honestly, listen to it now. I'm pretty sure it was a vibe that we was going for. If I was mixing it now, I probably would cut way more off. Probably like maybe like 24, just to make it a little cleaner. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this feels a little bit more cleaner to me. But back then, that's probably the vibe that I was going through. Maybe I sent it to the artist and we felt like we losing a little bit more punch. And sometimes when you feel like you're losing a little bit more punch, you got to just slack. In my opinion, I sacrifice a little bit of like clarity to just make sure that I still getting that punch. So that's what I did for that. Boosted it around like 43. And then did like a little bit of cutting. I actually didn't high filter anything, but did a little bit of cutting around 149, 210, and 300 range. And this 125 to like 500 range, when it comes to like bass, you could always get a little bit more clarity by just EQing some thing out. You could lose a lot of life sometimes too, so you got to be careful with it. But you could get a lot of clarity by just removing it. And I think I had like a parallel compression for this too. So let's hear it without the parallel compression and let's see what the parallel compression was doing. Okay, so let me put this parallel compression on pre just so we can see what the parallel compression was doing. We have this GTR amp on here. I still do this to this day. So we have the GTR amp. Just add a little bit more bite. And the compression is just basically squashing it, fast attack and slow release. And it's basically just squashing the parallel compression just so I can blend it back in and we can just have a more grittier bass line. So all together we have this. Very powerful. It adds more body to the bass. So that with the kick and everything else that we have, this is how it's sounding so far. The kick is punching through and the bass line is still hitting. You know what I'm saying? All right, so that's that. We have this 808 here too as well. So let's go to this section real quick and see what I did with the 808. It looks like I did nothing. So I think while producing this, I made sure a lot of times you gotta, especially when you're producing, you just gotta make sure that your 808 is actually crisp and clean. So while I was producing this, I'm pretty sure I made sure that the 808 was good. I'm gonna listen to it right now and see, but it doesn't seem like I did anything just to tame the 808 or anything like that. So let's listen to it. Yeah, that's pretty much a clean 808. Let's see how it sounds in reference with like the kick. All right, so you could listen. So just by listening to it, I could tell like the 808. The reason why I probably didn't add nothing to it because the 808 is honestly not competing with the kick at all in my ears. Like the where the kick is living is more in like that 100 range, more of the punchiness range, and then the 808 is living more in like the subbiness range. So I'm pretty sure I just didn't touch that and I felt like it was good. I remember when we had worked on this record, we had the demo out for like a little while and the demo really sounded good and we actually like played the demo to like a lot of people before I ran into like this final mix. So what we wanted to do was make sure that we didn't lose too much of that demo feel. We wanted to keep it very close to the demo, and then after that I just wanted to get into this final mix and then clean up a little bit, a couple of things, but I didn't want to change up a lot too much. So like the 808 and everything was hitting, so I didn't want to lose too much life of the 808 and make it sound too clean, because at the end of the day it's still like a hip-hop slash rap R&B feeling record for me, so I still wanted to have that hit and that punch. So I'm pretty sure that's why I kept it like that. So let's listen to it now with the 808 and the kick, and then add the rest of the drums in. All right, let me add the claps and hi-hats and everything. I bet this 808 that we had it going to that same parallel compression that I had the bass going to. And basically that's to add more sub. So let's see how it sounds for the 808. Turn this pre on. Yeah, see, and it's just adding sub. And I did that just so I had both the 808 and the bass line going to one parallel compression. Why? Just so it could both, because I noticed it's two different sections of the song, but I wanted the sub to feel very similar for both sections. I wanted to feel like the sub was changing. The instrument itself was changing, but the sub was feeling very similar. Feel me? So let's listen to it. Yeah, so this is just basically sub information and like very, very low end information. Like even if I look at the pass analyzer, let's see where that's going. Yeah, everything is basically 250 and under. So yeah. I'm gonna play it with it and without it. It's giving way more life, especially when it comes to like the extension of the notes. Like when the 808 is ringing out, it's making it way more sustained and way more consistent. That's why I added that in there. Let's listen to it one more time. Yeah, like that. I bet. So let's see what else we did. Like now we can go to those guitars and everything. I remember when I was mixing this, the guitar was giving me a little bit of an issue because it was just competing too much with the vocal. So with this, I did a little bit more processing than I usually do with like sounds. So I'm gonna just go through that and break that down and show you guys what I did. All right, so this is it right here. We're gonna play it. And this originally, like when I was making the beat, the guitars have like delays printed onto it. So I wanted to make sure that delays don't compete with everything else in the side information, meaning like once I start adding backgrounds and everything. So I'm gonna break down how I tamed that and everything. So let's play it without all the plugins, and then we're gonna cut the plugins back on. This is how it sounds originally. With the plugins. So what I noticed is that when I add the plugins back in, obviously that there's some white noise in there, but I think I did that purposely because it was just sounding a little bit too clean. And I used everything just to get a little bit more volume and a little bit more consistency. So let's go through it one by one. We have this CLA 2A. And that, like I said, that's to glue everything together, and that's to bring in like the delays that's already printed on the guitar. That's to like bring it all in. And it's to add more volume. And then I did a lot of EQ for this. I did a lot of EQ because a lot of times I notice when it comes to like mixing guitars, especially if you start throwing like amps and stuff like in guitars, it has like a lot of pain frequencies. And you really can't hear it all the time once you start adding like all the other instruments and all that stuff. But when you can hear it, you got to get them out of there. Feel me? So I was listening to this and I was like, nah, it got too much pain frequency. So I started getting some of that out. And then I was probably clearing up this mid-range because it was competing with the vocal. Feel me? So let me play it without the EQ and then with the EQ. See, with the EQ, if you really pay attention, it kind of feels like it compressed it a little bit because the overall sound became very consistent, meaning like the levels of like the delays and the levels of the overall guitar became super consistent, as opposed to like when I turned the EQ off, you can see that certain parts is louder than other. Certain parts get loud, then it gets low, especially like with the delays and everything. I'm gonna do it one more time so you can hear it. So that's how you can use like EQ to just basically keep a sound like very consistent. Like I said, I cut a little bit at the 200 range, cut a lot at the 400 range, added a little bit probably just for like more body, and then these are like just pain frequencies, removing pain frequencies. If I turn it up, you can hear it. Pain frequency, I already know that. More pain frequency, got that out of there. This is probably more pain. Yes, too resonant. So I just cleaned that up with that EQ, and then we have another EQ here where I probably just got out a little bit more mud and cleaned it up. This is probably a lot of these I probably did later on when I started bringing in the vocals, and I realized I need more clarity for the vocals. I like where the vocals are singing, but I need more clarity, and then that's probably when I start adding more of these. That's the way I usually work. So yeah, so this is just a little bit more muddiness that we got out. And the J37, I like putting saturations on sound because it makes especially when I have like delays and stuff, it makes it sound a little bit more thicker and warmer, and like a little bit, it gives like slightly like a little bit more width. So I'm gonna add that back in just so y'all can hear that. It brings those sides up, and then now it feels like that consistency in the delays and the levels and everything sounds more consistent, which makes it feel like the entire guitars have come more to life. You feel me? So that's what I did with that. And then we have another guitar. Let's see. So that's the same guitar, but it's probably just a small portion of it reversed. Yeah. And one thing I do a lot is when I want sounds to sound very similar, I use like the same plugin and probably barely change anything and just use it on multiple, because these guitars were both the same guitar, just the audio was just changed up a little bit. I used the same CLA 2A because I wanted it to fit in that same field as that first guitar. So I used the same CLA 2A, and I just dragged it down. Feel me? So I'm pretty sure these are exactly the same. Yeah. All right, so let's see without. Let's play without it. Oh no, I was not trying to do that. And with it. So me gluing everything together with this, but the it feels like the reverb and the sound got put together, and then it came a little bit more to life, and then it also feels like the sound just got a little bit thicker and bigger for me. So let's go through each individual plugin on its own. Glued it with this compression, and then we have a little bit more EQ just to clean up the bottom. It was a lot of rumble back down there. Yeah. And then more of, I think it's probably the same EQ. Yep. The same EQ that was probably competing with the vocals. I'm pretty sure 380. I just got that out of there just to create more space between the vocals and the guitars. You can see even the J37 is here, but it probably wasn't giving the same feel, so it's inactive. So we have that. Let's listen to all that. But what we have, no, we have more sounds actually. So let's go through the piano. And see, like these two guitars are mainly like the main key. So everything else really isn't as important. It's just basically textural feels and just slight things that I don't need to be as present as the guitars. So a lot of these, you didn't see that I threw too many plugins on it. I basically didn't really do much because they already fit into the song, into the pocket that they needed to be in. So let's listen to this. This piano we got. So this was basically just to support the guitar. And it's a little bit of resonance in there. You can hear it when it's by itself, but with the guitar, you don't hear it as much. So I really didn't do anything with this piano, and then we could go to this piano melody. Okay, so with this piano melody, I have a compressor that has a very fast attack and sort of like a quick release too. Because the reason why I have that is that I noticed that the attack of this piano, you can even see it in the transients, is like super quick, and it was cutting through a little bit too much where it feels like it was just too transient heavy. So I wanted to tame that a little bit, but the release doesn't have to hold on too long because the notes really are really stabby, and the notes aren't really too long for the release to be that long. And the compression is like basically, it's not doing that much. It's just basically, this compression is just to tame the first initial attack of the melody. Let's see without it. And it's making it a little bit more consistent too. What I would do if I was mixing that today, I would add more compression just to glue all the sounds together and make the lower notes come up a little bit, just so all the notes could be more consistent on the level. But I liked how it sounds when I was mixing it. You feel me? So let's listen to that all together. And you notice that these pianos are panned too. A lot of times you could create a lot of separation, a lot of clarity just by panning stuff. If you have everything coming straight through the middle, then you really got to EQ and you really got to do a lot because it got to fight. Everything is fighting for that one space. But because these guitars are being panned to the left, they're delaying to the left, it's taking up that space. The piano chords are taking up the right. this piano melody is taking up the left, it's like a little bit more separation to where somebody could pick out each sound individually for me. So that's why I didn't feel like I had to mix and do too much of every single sound for me. So we have this synth lead. This is one of my favorite sounds out of this whole record anyway too. But when the 808 changes in this record, is this lead right here. Let's play that. All right, so like I said, me listening to it right now, 2024 today, what I would do for sure is just basically take out a lot of like the resonance. I would probably take that out and then lift everything up with some compression. I'm pretty sure, like I said, I really like how it sounds in this beat because a lot of times this is why it's important to not just mix based on how a sound sounds solo. With everything else, you don't really hear too much of that resonance once the 808 and everything is playing. I would clean it up because I don't like resonant sounds at all. But with everything playing, you don't really hear a lot of that resonance. So I didn't do a lot to it. Let's see, this is bypassed. So yeah, I didn't do anything to it. Really, I just kept it the same. So let's hear how it sounds in that section. See, it sounds good. It's not competing. You can hear everything, and it's the whole point of it is I didn't want that sound to be weak because it's supposed to take over it's supposed to take over for that section. It's supposed to be a sound that sticks out for that session. Feel me? All right, and we have one last sound where is this string right here when it comes to melodies. And then after that, we'll play everything as one. I didn't do anything to this. It's consistent. Sounds fine. A lot of times you can just leave. You don't have to feel like you have to mix every single sound. When you have something that just fits perfectly, especially if it's a supporting sound, just leave it. It sounds good exactly how it is. You feel me? So we'll play everything that we have together as one. All these drums and all these sounds are going into, let's see, they're all going into, it's all drums, but like I said, for when I mix this record, ooh, let me take this off. When I mixed this record, I didn't feel like I needed anything for it. So all drums is right here, all sounds is right here. I didn't do any mix bus processing. I just left it how it is. And let's listen to how it sounds so far in terms of like the drums and sounds. I bet. So I like how that sounds. That's what we have for the drums. So we'll start going and diving into the vocals and what we did for the vocals. All right. So when we recorded this in like a booth, and the recording is pretty much clear. It's not too much background noise because I think I recorded this myself, especially the hook. I recorded this by myself and it wasn't a lot of noise. I was just literally had the microphone set up in the booth and I had everything. I did not record this here, but when I recorded it, it was treated right, and so the main vocal is pretty decent. But you still want to mix the record, you still want to mix the vocals to get it to sound to fit into the beat. So even though it might be clear, it might not fit the beat in terms of like the tone wise. For me, so we're gonna go through what I did to make it fit the beat tone wise, and then I'm gonna explain that. So yeah, let's get to it. I bet. So I have the hook here. I'm gonna just play it real quick. Excuse me. I don't want to play none of the drums. So I'm gonna first play without all the I'm gonna first play without all the plugins and everything that I added to it.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right. Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we
So that's how it sounded without all the processing that it did. And then with the processing, it sounded like this.
bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right.
Yeah, so you notice like with the processing, we got like a lot of brightness, and we got a whole lot of volume added too. That's usually what I aim for whenever I'm processing, just to clean up and gut out all the sounds and all the frequencies that I don't like, and then add a little bit more brightness to it, add a little bit more power to it, and bring it more forward. You feel me? So we're gonna go through each individual thing, what I did for it, and then I'm gonna break that down to y'all. So let's see. Boom.
Bad little shorty from the east side.
So back then, I was definitely using the Q8 a lot. I still like the Q8. It depends. I use it for certain things, but the Q8 is good. But it just goes to show you, honestly, you could just mix with any plugins, stock plugins, whatever. Some plugins definitely for sure make the job easier. You feel me? It makes your what you're trying to achieve easier. And some plugins have a sound as well too. But with this, I didn't use anything, especially back 2021. I probably even have some of the plugins that I have now. Anyway, you feel me? But I used this QA, and this was just to clean up the vocal a little bit. So let's see what that did.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got
So I did I cut off about like 177. I didn't do no boost in here. This was basically to get rid of a lot of the mud and just to clean up the record. Because when I listen to the vocals by itself, you can hear that it's a lot of it sounds very closed in, because like I said, I was recording in the booth. So it was just to pull out a little bit of that sound from it, and just to make it sound a little bit more thinner, but a little bit more clear at the same time.
bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time.
That's the low end.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no.
A little bit of that boxiness.
Pull up on a nigga, make me feel
Clean
right.
that up.
Bad little shorty from the east side.
A little more of that boxiness.
I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga. Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right.
A little bit of that harshness comes from right here. Like you can hear it.
Shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make
Very
it
harsh,
feel
you see. We go back, and then this is probably just more pain frequency.
Bad little shorty from the east side.
Yep. Don't like that.
Shorty from the east side.
And 3.
I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time. No
More pain frequency. So it's the same thing for like every vocal. Like it has its pain areas, it has the boxiness areas, and then it has like the low range that you just don't like. Feel me? So I did a little bit of EQ just to clean that up a little bit.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right.
And then we have this RVox. RVox, I'm always using it just to add a little bit more volume, and I really like the gate. So in terms of if there's background noise, I'm getting a lot of that out of it. If I'm hearing a lot of the room in the mix, in the performance, then I'm getting a lot of that out from using the gate. For me, so
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste
so we got a lot of volume by using this. But once you get the volume, a lot of times when you use the RVox 2, or even when you use compression, it's gonna add a lot of it might, especially the RVox specifically, it might add a lot of boxiness to your sound. So I usually like to like EQ right after the RVox, because or EQ after my compression too, because you might have some added boxiness into it. So I know that's what this REQ is for. Just to get a little bit of that boxiness and then add a little bit more brightness. We're cutting out a whole lot of 375. Yeah, a whole lot of it. And then we're adding a little bit more brightness.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right. Bad little shorty from the east side.
It just made a wave. It feels like it's making it thinner, but in the feeling of the overall record, it's gonna sound good. But it's making it feel thinner, and it's also making it feel less boxy. The vocal kind of cleans up and pushes up a little bit.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right.
Then after that, we have compression. For this, I did kind of slow attack and slightly mid to fast release. I don't think I did too much compression in this record because I don't know. Just from looking at the way I recorded it, it doesn't really seem too inconsistent. There's parts that get a little bit loud, but it's not too inconsistent. So that sounds decent. So I didn't think I needed too much compression, but let's see what I did.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right. Bad little shorty from the east side.
A little bit more consistent and a little bit more in your face. We're gonna do it one more time.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right.
All right, I like how that sounds. And then we have this lo-fi. I used to use it, especially back then, a lot. This lo-fi is just to give me a little bit more volume and just to push my vocal forward a little bit, so you can see that we have distortion, 0.9, pushing it up a little bit.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right.
And it feels like the vocal is getting a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more in your face, but I'm gonna tame all of that later on with the other plugins.
Bad little shorty from the east side.
So we have another F6. I'm pretty sure I was having a problem having this vocal cut through the mix because the guitar and everything is so bright. So I was probably pushing up this to get a little bit more brightness out of the vocal.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right. Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make.
But you could notice as soon as I add this, it gets a little bit harsh and the S's become a little bit too much. So directly after that, we have this de-esser that I'm using to tame a lot of the S's and get a lot of that sibilance out of there.
Bad little shorty from the east side.
So now it's not as harsh. Even though I was doing a lot of boosting and I was adding a lot. A lot of people don't like adding, but back then I used to add a lot too. So me adding a lot to the vocal, I just make sure that I tame that by having this de-esser here.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right.
So I'm still having that brightness that I just boosted it, but it all feels tame because it's being compressed. For me, so I'm getting the brightness and I'm getting the consistency from this de-esser, getting rid of everything. Then we have a decapitator just to add a little bit more brightness. I love decapitator. I still use it to this day. For me.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time.
Let's just add some energy and just some vibe to the vocal.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no.
And then we have, like I said, you don't have to process a lot when it comes to vocals. I think it's not every little plugin that I'm adding to it is doing its own little thing, and it's slight. It's not doing too much. You feel me? It's all added. Like every plugin isn't doing too much work, but every plugin is slightly altering what it needs to alter to make the sound good and make it fit into the track. You feel me? So I have this C4 to add a little bit more brightness because maybe I was feeling like this vocal isn't bright enough and I needed it to fit the brightness of the overall record. So I was doing a lot of boosting for this record. But every record isn't the same. For me, you don't have to do this for every single record.
Bad little shorty from the east side.
And with this, the reason why I'm using the C4 too, because as I'm boosting, this is kind of working like a de-esser too. It's also at the same time, it's boosting, but it's compressing down. So it's the same thing as a de-esser. It's not too bright. It's just getting brightness, but without that sharpness and the sibilance.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right.
All right, that's good. And then we have here plate reverb, hall reverb, and a fourth delay. So let's see what I did with this plate reverb. What was I using? Pro R2. So we have a plate reverb here. I bet. So let's see what we did with the plate reverb. It was off at the moment, but we have this plate reverb, right? And this is what we
Bad
was
little
doing.
shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right. Bad little shorty.
It's just a Pro R.
Bad little
plate, and then we are EQing some pain out of the Pro R and just cutting some high end and low end off of it. But it's slightly, this plate reverb is just to add a little bit more space and make the vocal a little bit bigger. Not too much, not too much of the big reverb that I usually use for records, but it's just something small just to push the vocal up a little bit
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right.
and give it a
And we ain't
space.
got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right.
I like that. And then I had this hall reverb. This is the big reverb that gives like the vibe for the record and everything.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste
It's a
time.
bigger
So
reverb.
pull up on a nigga, make me feel right. Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do.
And this is more giving the vibe. I usually like to use 2 reverbs. When I'm producing, I'm using 3 reverbs. I'm using a small reverb, I'm using a mid-size reverb, and I'm using a big reverb. Anything that I want to be in the front is gonna be sent to like a small reverb. Anything that I want to be in the middle in terms of bigness, I'm gonna use for the mid reverb. Anything that I want to be deep in the back, that I'm gonna use like long, large reverb for that. So, but when I'm mixing vocals, I always tend, and not always, but most of the time, I tend to use like 2 reverbs for me. So I have this plate reverb to give a little, push the vocal up a little bit and make it bigger, and I have the whole reverb just to fit the vibe of the record and give that big space, that little Tory Lanez kind of vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Bad little shorty from the east side.
And then we have this delay here. Let's see.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up.
So for this record, it was a lot of information. Remember what I said before, the guitars were being panned left to right and delaying. So I didn't want to use like something like Echo Boy, or I didn't want to use something that delays, that has a doubler feel or a wide feel to it, because that's going to cover up too much space and then it's going to take up too much space to the side. So I use this little H delay. Me personally, I still like H delay. I just use it for specific things. So I just have this H delay here, cut off a little bit of the high end a little bit, and this REQ kind of a little bit more high end and low end, so it doesn't compete with the vocal, and then kind of a little bit at 2000, so it doesn't compete with the vocal more. But this is basically this delay is just basically right behind the vocal, just to add a little bit more energy and a little bit more bop. It's more of a rhythmic delay more than anything.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel
For me,
right.
you hear it, and it's not in the side. It's basically like tucked under the vocal and in the back. So let me see. For y'all perspective, it'll be tucked down in the vocal and in the back. If I'm looking at speakers, that's how I look at it. The vocal is like right here, and then the delay is under and in the back of the vocal. For me,
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So
all right. So we have that, and then what else did I do? I have a couple of parallel compression. Boom. Let's see. We have this parallel compression.
bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time.
Let's see what the parallel compression is doing.
I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel
Just boosting. Whenever I feel like I've boosted too much and I still want certain parts to stand out a little bit, that's when I go to like parallel compression. So I'm pretty sure I wanted this 2000 to go up a little bit, and we wanted 300 probably was just too muddy when it comes to parallel compression, so I had to get rid of that. And we have compression. I'm squashing it.
shorty from the east side.
19 dB,
Things to make it feel right.
5 ratio, quick attack, so it's not really going through, and the release is like super slow. So we're squashing it, and then we're just blending this back in.
Things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time.
So that with the vocal,
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right. Bad little shorty.
it's just pushing the vocal up in your face a little bit more, but it's still consistent. You feel me? It still feels tame. That's why I like using parallel compression so much. We have this doubler. I use doublers a lot, especially back then, just to make the vocal a little bit wider. So let's see.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And
Just
we
a
ain't got
regular
time,
doubler.
no waste.
Just a regular doubler. I took out the middle, because I just wanted it to feel like I use this a lot on ad libs, but I just wanted it to feel like the vocals were being heavier, you feel me? But it's slightly boosted in. And then we have an S1 image just to make it wider.
Bello shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste.
That's what it exaggerated.
Bello shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right.
Without it, the vocal just sounds like without it, the vocal feels like it's straight in the middle. And then once I add it in there, it feels like the vocal just gets a little bit wider.
Bello shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right.
And then we have this brightness compression, parallel compression. What is this? Oh yeah, so it is a trick, especially that I definitely learned from Devon Terrell, that when he boosts the high end, you feel me? And then does the compression trick. I think I had just learned it from him back then. Feel me? So that's what this is brightness compression. Just add a little bit more brightness to the track. You feel me? It's add a little bit of, let me see, 9K. You feel me? Everything is cut off till about 15K, and then we're just boosting that super high. A little bit of compression, a lot of bit of compression, and then a de-esser to like tame it. The de-esser is taming it. So let's see what the brightness compression is doing on its own. See, this is what it sounds like. It's just a higher end version of it, and then it's just being pushed up. You feel me? I'm just using that just to add more brightness to the vocal.
Bello shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel.
So with it,
Bello shorty from the east side. I'ma do
without
things
it,
to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right. Bello shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right.
It's very slight, but it adds a little bit more air to it, and you hear it a lot when especially when you have like the rest of the instruments and everything. So we're gonna go to now the how I processed. Matter of fact, let's listen to that with all the drums and everything that we have so far.
Bello shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right. Bello shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right. So don't waste my time. Cause we ain't got no time, no waste, no time, no time.
All right. That sounds good. I like the vibe. We had ad-libs here. Let's see how I process the ad-libs. Okay, so we have auto-tune. I think I definitely used like E-effect. No, around this time, this is when we had the auto-tune. I don't remember which name. I think it was like auto-tune 8, but the white auto-tune, which to me to this day, I think the white auto-tune sounded the best, and it was like the easiest to use. It just used to not sound harsh. It sounded wavy. I like how that white auto-tune sounds. You feel me? But that's what I was using at the time. So I'm pretty sure I just adjusted this now. But these are just some ad-libs and some delays, and then we have like a bunch of like harmonies and stacks for this. So let me just go over and just show y'all what I did. So this for the ad-libs.
From the east side. Feel right.
Just so this could feel like a little different, we have this auto-tune on it. PSA, I still use PSA to this day. PSA is just, when it comes to any type of radio effect or loudspeaker effects, that's like my go-to. I'm using the PSA. I just like how it sounds a lot. Or if I want a little bit of saturation for a vocal, well, not even saturation, you know, like that Kanye type of power type of effect, I'm going to PSA. Then we have this telephone effect. I just love how the EQ37, and this is a stock plugin. I love how the power. I still use this to the telephone effect on this. So just to make the ad lib sound a little bit different from the main vocal, we do this telephone effect on it, and then I have J37. Probably just add a little bit more saturation and just to make it stick out a little bit from the main vocal. So let's see how that sounds with and without everything.
From the east side. Feel right. Waste time. Yeah.
Oh, matter of fact, let me mute all of this first. But this is still all the processing.
From the east side.
So I got a lot of volume from the processing that I did too. But yeah, so that's just to make it sound a little bit different.
From the east side. Feel right. Waste time. Yeah.
All right, so that's how we did. So for the overall vocals, this is the processing that we have. We're gonna play everything together with and without it, just so you can see what it did. But these are all. Let me see. All right, so I had all the backgrounds, all the ad libs going to this background bus right here. So I'm gonna play that real quick.
From the east side.
I had these delays. I think I just. Yeah, we just have this panned regular auto tune and just pan to the left and right. Recorded it, same thing twice.
I'ma do things. Feel right. We ain't got time. Waste time. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I recorded this. This is not the same recording. This recording is different from this recording. And I got it panned one hard left, one hard right. So it makes it feel like I have a doubler on the vocals. That's one thing that you do. A lot of times people try to double the vocal and like pan it left and right. If you double the same vocal left and right, it's not going to make a difference. It's just going to make the vocal louder. What you have to do is you have to record the same take and try to make them sound very exactly the same. Pan one left, pan one right. Then that's going to give it like a doubler type effect, but without even having to add a doubler to it. Feel me?
From the east side. Feel right. Waste time. Yeah. From the east side. Feel right.
Maybe I might have had a doubler on it. Yes, because it's going in the background too. So let me see. I think I did have a doubler to it. I lied. You feel me? Yeah, that's actually wrong. But either way, that's definitely how you still do it. So let's see. Let's go to these background vocals, right? So all of these background vocals, these right here and these that I'm about to play right now are going to background bus 2. So they're all going here, and this is how they're being processed. So without the processing, this is how they sound. We're gonna start from right here.
From the east side. Feel right.
So you got a lot of volume. I got a lot of volume by using this. You could barely hear it.
Feel right. Waste time. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got a lot of volume from that.
I'ma do things. We ain't got time. So pull up.
I bet. So let's go through what I did to get it there. I'm gonna play these right here. I'm pretty sure I used the same Q8 from the main vocal just to get that same feel. So that's the Q8, the same Q8 from the beginning. Just cleared up a little bit of the bottom, removed a little bit of mud, pain frequency, and a little bit of more pain. Got that out of there. Then I have this R Vox again. Just to, especially for background vocals, I personally, when I'm mixing background vocals, I don't want to hear no room noise or nothing like that, unless that's the effect that we're going to. Especially like nowadays with like Afro beats, when you're working on those gang vocals, anything, you might want to hear the room and it might want to sound like a choir. But when I want vocals that are super upfront for background vocals, I want to gate out a lot. So I did a gate out a lot for the background vocals, and then I added more volume with this compressor. And then like once I said the same thing with the R Vox, just to get it out of there, some of that mud and add a little bit more brightness, I did the same thing with that.
I'ma do things. We ain't got time. So pull up on a nigga. Bad little shorty.
And for the background vocals, adding that brightness made it like just lift up, and it feels like super crisp and clear, and it supports the main vocal a lot. Then we have like a mid compression. I'm pretty sure I compress this a lot because I usually do when it comes to compression for background vocals. So let's see. A lot.
I'ma do things. We ain't got time.
Yeah, so slight compression like 3 to 6 dB. That's all I felt like I needed.
I'ma do things.
And then I have this de-esser just to get a little bit more sharpness out.
Bad little shorty. I'ma do things.
Because you don't really want too much S's, especially coming from your side information and your background. If you have too much S's coming from the side information, that's where your ears are. It's gonna sound super harsh, and that's when you're gonna notice you're getting like ear fatigue whenever you're listening to music. For me, then I have another de-esser directly after that.
Bad little shorty. I'ma do things.
See, one of this de-esser is getting out the 4-500, but it's the filter is basically this type of filter, so it's getting rid of the information, the S's information in between. And then this de-esser is getting rid of anything basically of 6500 and up is getting rid of that. It's just taming that a little bit.
Bad little shorty.
But you can see that it's barely even touching it. It's just there. It's just there for if the vocals, the S's get too much.
Bad little shorty.
Then I have this lo-fi to push the vocal up, 0.9.
Bad little shorty.
Brings that vocal
I'ma
up.
do things.
And then we have this right here. This is probably just to add. I'm pretty sure when I was mixing this vocal, you can treat your background vocals whichever way you want, right? But I'm pretty sure when I was mixing this, I wanted the background vocals to support the main vocal. So I didn't want it to be two in the back. I wanted it to feel like they were all one vocal. You feel me? So I added a lot of the high-end boost that I added from this lead. Let's see, this F6. Yeah, a lot of it is just a little, see how this is more? It's just a little less for this F6. Well, yeah, it's just a little less. So I'm bypass this and I got rid of that. More of that mid-range information.
Bad little shorty. I'ma do things. We ain't got time. So pull up on a nigga.
Let's see without it again.
Bad little shorty. I'ma do things. We ain't got time. So pull up on a nigga.
And a lot of times when you can listen, when you pay attention to EQ, it kind of feels like a EQ could be, it feels like it's compressing your record. Meaning, like once I added this EQ, it feels like the vocal got more consistent. It got more brighter in your face.
Bad little shorty. I'ma do things. We ain't got time.
I have a J37 just to add a little bit more thickness to the record and a little more saturation and color to it.
Bad little shorty. I'ma do things. We ain't got time. So pull up on a nigga.
And an S1 imager just to make
Bad little shorty.
it super wide. Like this is extreme. 177. I push this up.
Bad little shorty.
Super wide.
I'ma do things. We ain't got time.
So let's see this with the main vocals and the ad-libs and everything.
Bad little shorty.
From the east side.
I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right. Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me bad little shorty from.
All right, boom. So these harmonies that I have here, we're going to the same one that I just showed. What I had was a plate reverb and a hall reverb for it. So let's see.
Feel right, so don't waste my time. Cause we ain't got no time, no waste, no time, no time.
Let's listen to it by
Feel
itself.
right, so don't waste my time. Cause we ain't.
Listen to that by itself. So these are all the harmonies that I had. I had to go into one. All of these are going to background 2, which is right here. And the processing that we just went over is the same thing. De-esser, Q8, clean it up, boosting it, adding more volume. Let's see what I did with the plate reverb. Same plate reverb I use. Like I said, I had this plate reverb setup that we used. Only thing that I probably did for these background vocals, I use a different amount. So let's see.
My time. No time.
For me, plate reverb just to give it a little bit of room, and then we have this hall reverb.
My time.
I wanted it to be big just so like the backgrounds could feel lush. You feel me? So I added a lot of hall reverb, and then we have this doubler here for the background vocals. This is important. This doubler is going to a doubler 4. So with this doubler 4, I'm just using I just took away the middle because I didn't want that middle information, and then I think this is just a doubler 4 preset, and the only difference that I did is I took away the middle. So let's see with it. It just makes everything feel wider, and it feels more like glued together. It's just an effect type of feel.
My time, no time for life. So come with me, be mine.
All right, so that's what we have, and then we have it going to that same parallel compression that I use for all the for all the vocals. I just have it being sent there, some of it just to push the vocal up a little bit. So let's listen to that all together with the hook, and then we're gonna bring in the
Feel right, so don't waste my time. Cause we ain't got no time, no waste, no time, no time. And you know I'm gon' hold you down for life, for life. So come with me, give me all your energy, be mine, be mine.
All right, so that's what we have for that. It's just the reverb makes everything feel big. The doubles feels together, compressed, and nice. So I'm gonna add this with all the drums.
Feel right, so don't waste my time. Cause we ain't got no time, no waste, no time, no time. And you know I'm gon' hold you down for life, for life. So come with me, give me all your energy, be mine.
Let's get it, let's get it. Where are the guitars? Let's get it.
Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right. Bad little shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. And we ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right. So don't waste my time. Cause we ain't got no time, no waste, no time, no time. And you know I'm gon' hold you down for life, for life. So come with me, give me all your energy, be mine, be mine.
All right, bet. So boom, that's what we had, and then we're gonna go to the verse. You feel me? The verse was Bronxlyn, the artist that I work with. We worked on a bunch of songs. You could check it out. We worked on an album. We worked on a bunch of records together. We have actually other records that I'm on the hook for too that I might do and other song I might do more breakdowns for. So if you actually wanna see me do more breakdowns of a couple of other songs that I have with Bronxlyn, just let me know. Go in the comments and just let me know. So yeah, let me get to the verse, and I'm gonna show you guys how I processed his vocals for the verse. Let's see.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach, just for the week. Make a couple money moves, break you off a piece. Red on your bottom like a murder scene. Double breast, Hugo Boss, no, I keep it clean. West Coast for a year, now she on the east. Get that passport heavy, fly you out the grease.
All right, bet. So these are the vocals right here. We recorded this. I recorded this myself. I tracked it myself. We recorded it in the same places, like in a booth. It's like one of those booths. What do you call them? It's like one of those portable booths, but it's like an official, like literally booth. It wasn't a studio, but it was like an official portable booth that we had that we recorded this in. So the vocals are tracked pretty good, pretty clear. But I'm gonna show you guys what I added to the plugin just to get the sound in your face, and because these are rap vocals, so you want it to be aggressive in your face, but it's still an R&B song, so you want to give that vibe. You feel me?
In and out of cities, can't waste time.
So let's see. Without everything.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach, just for the week. Make a couple money moves, break you off a piece. Keep red on your bottom like a murder.
And with plugins.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach, just for the week. Make a couple money moves, break you off a piece. Keep red on your bottom like a murder scene.
So for this, the goal was to keep it still natural and make it still sound like him. But I did, the song is because it was a lot of drums and a lot of things going on, and the guitars and everything was so aggressive. We had to do a lot, not do a lot, but I had to make sure that the vocal cuts through. You feel me? So that's where you get this processing, and it feels like I'm doing a lot to it, but it's not really a lot. So let's go through it. Boom. All right, so first what I did was de-essing, everybody's different. Some people when they record, they have more S's than others. Me personally, I didn't have a lot of S's on mine. You might record somebody that has a lot of S's on their voice, so you might have to DS first before you get into anything. So I DS'd a little bit first for his vocals, and then I got to the rest of the processing.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I
taking away a little bit of that 4,000, like 4,500, 4,721.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure
it's like a little bit of that pain frequency, getting rid of that.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach, just for the week.
And then once again, we have this Q8. This is just gonna clear up things a little bit. Probably like a similar EQ. We're rolling off like 170, getting rid of like a little bit of 193. A lot in the mid range. Yeah, I would say this is a lot in the mid range, just to clear up that vocal a little bit. Makes the vocal sound a little bit thin, but it also cleans up the vocal a lot. So
in and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach, just for the week. Make a couple money moves, break you off a piece. Keep red on your bottom like a murder scene. Double brats, Hugo Boss. No.
For me, so like for his part, the 808 is playing on his part. So I'm letting the 808 take control of all of that pause, but all of that thickness and all that power, I'm letting the 808 take care of that. And then his vocal can be a little bit more thinner and cut through. You know what I'm saying?
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach, just for the week. Make a couple money moves, break you off.
So this is like the pain frequency, I'm pretty sure.
In and out of cities, can't waste time.
More pain frequency.
In and out of cities, can't wait.
Get that out of there too, resonant. And then this is just more like the boxiness and the mud. I just wanted to get that out of there.
In and out of cities, can't waste time.
Mud. You don't like that.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right.
Boxiness, get that out of there.
In and out of cities.
So, like I said, with every vocal, it's pretty much the same. Like that, you could just, once you get your ears adjusted to that sound, you can hear it easily. I just know that's how mud sounds. I know that's how pain frequency sound. I know that's how resonant sound. I know that's where pain frequency usually is in this area. I know that's where mud usually is. I know that's where boxiness usually is. I know that's where that low end boom usually is. So I could go to any vocal and I could just check those parts and clean it up a little bit. For me, so I did that, got rid of that. We have this R Vox just to bring the vocal up again and gate, because I recorded it in the same place. I know how that place already sounds, so I want to gate out a little bit of that background noise, and I just want to add a little bit more power to the vocal with R Vox.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach, just for the week. Make a couple money moves.
But the R Vox is barely doing anything for his vocal.
Can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight.
Max.
DC, South Beach, just for the week.
For me, it's barely doing anything. It's giving a lot of volume, but it's barely doing anything in terms of compression. And then once again, I just have this. This is probably like a preset I was using back then, where as soon as I use the R Vox, I just have this just to clean up that boxiness and just to add a little bit more brightness.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach, just for the week.
If you pay attention to this area, you could just hear a lot of that boxiness just clear up.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach, just for the week. Make a couple money moves, break you off a piece. Keep red on your bottom like a murder scene. Double brats, Hugo Boss, no, I keep it clean. West Coast for a year, now she on it.
You don't want it to be too thin, but you want to get a little bit more clarity out of it. So that's what I was doing that for. And then we went straight to the compression. With his vocal, he's rapping, so I wanted to be a little bit more aggressive. So I used a slower attack and a faster release, and probably like a little bit more compression, just so it could be consistent. I remember when we were recording this, we definitely were using like compression on the way in slightly, and we were using a lot of I didn't EQ on the way in, but I used compression on the way in. So you can even see his vocal is basically, it's good volume. You can see the compression on his vocal on the way in. So it's clear.
In and out of cities.
So I don't think I did a lot, but we'll see.
In and out of cities, can't waste time.
Yeah.
Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight.
Around like
DC,
6
South Beach,
to like 7 dB.
Make a couple money moves, break you off a piece.
But this is just to make the vocal very consistent.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach.
And you can notice the vocal sits back a little bit, but it stays there for me. And that was just so it could just not move around too much with all the information that's going on in the beat.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure.
Then we have this just to add a little bit more brightness.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight.
And a 10K.
DC, South Beach, just for the week.
We have a
In and out
decapitator.
of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a
A lot of times when I'm mixing, especially when I'm mixing with like two different artists, if I do something for one artist, I might do a lot of the same similar things for the next artist, just so they can feel like if they didn't record at the same time or if they didn't record in the same studio, I want them to feel like they recorded the same. So you want both artists to fit one vibe. So I use the capitator on my voice. I use it on his voice too, just so it could feel like, oh, they recorded the song at the same time. They recorded this the same place. So both of vocals could fit the same vibe. So this just to add a little bit more brightness, only if they need it. This will add a little bit more brightness and a little bit more vibe to it.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight.
Then we have this de-esser again. Remember from all that boosting that I did, that same de-esser that I used on my vocal, I'm using this on his just to tame all of those S's a little bit more.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach, just for the week. Make a couple money moves, break you off a piece. Keep red on your bottom like a murder scene.
And then we have this C4, adding a little bit more body to his volume, to his vocals, and then boosting a little bit more of those highs. But with the C4, the reason why I'm using C4 as opposed to just boosting on the EQ is just so it can compress it so it feels more natural, doesn't feel as aggressive.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach, just for the week. Make a couple money moves, break you off a piece.
All right. And then we have plate reverb, same plate reverb that I use on my vocal, just different levels. Ooh, what did I just change? Yes, just different levels.
In and out of cities, can't waste time.
Makes his vocal a little bit bigger, a little wider.
In and out of
And then I have this hall reverb just to give him that ambience the same, because I want his vocals to feel like they were recorded with my vocals, so I'm using the same type of reverb for it.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach, just for the week. Make a couple money.
But I'm making sure that because he's rapping, I don't want the reverb to drown out his vocals.
In and out.
Then we have parallel compression. I'm pretty sure I used. Let's see what we did in terms of parallel compression for his vocal.
In and out of cities, can't waste time.
A lot of these parallel compressions and stuff like that, I don't do it in the first set of mixing. I'll probably mix the vocals and I probably mix the beat first, and then I use the parallel compression just at like the last stages of my mixing session just to enhance the record. So if I feel like, oh, I bet I got this vocal sitting in the right spot, but I needed to push up a little bit, that's when I'll go to like parallel compression. If I feel like, I need this vocal to be wider, I like everything in the mix, but the vocals could be a little wider, then I'll start adding like parallel doubler or anything like that for me. So I have this parallel compression that I use on his vocal. Let's just make sure y'all can hear that.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I.
And all I'm doing is, let's see, put it on pre.
Make sure I hit
R compressor, fast attack, slow release, and super squashing it just to add a little bit more thickness. Remember, I just removed a lot of that mud and boxing it, so his vocals sound a little bit thin. So I need to bring that back in by just adding that parallel compression.
in and out of cities. A flight, DC, South Beach, just for the week. Make a couple money moves, break you off a piece. Keep red on your bottom like a murder scene. Double breast, Hugo Boss, no, I keep it clean. West Coast for a year, now she on the east. Keep that passport heavy, fly you out the.
Yeah, just a little bit more body. Same doubler that I used on my vocal, took out the middle. Just like I said, I want both verses to feel like they're on the same vibe. For both artists to feel like they're on the same vibe. So doubler, same doubler that I use on myself.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach, just for the week. Make a couple.
And then the same brightness that I used on my vocal, use on his too.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I
just
hit
to get a little bit brightness. So we're going to see what it sounds like with and without this parallel compression.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach, just for the week. Make a couple money moves, break you off a piece. Keep red
his
on
his vocal stands out a little bit more, and it's just a little bigger. You feel me?
In and out of cities.
So let's listen to that with the drums and everything.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach, just for the week. Make a couple money moves, break you off a piece. Keep red on your bottom like a murder scene. Double breast, Hugo Boss, know I keep it clean. West Coast for a year, now she on the east. Keep that passport heavy, fly you out the grease. But money come first, so I gotta leave. No, I circle right back, swear it out your weave. See, I fuck her like a thug, treat her like a queen.
All right, and let me add like the rest of the sounds and everything.
In and out of cities, can't waste time. Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach, just for the week. Make a couple money moves, break you off a piece. Keep red on your bottom.
All right, so that was mainly it for his vocal, which is a lot of just straight verse. What I like to do, especially with rappers a lot, is just I like to like throw like a doubler on a vocal just for their in and outs. You feel me? I like to throw a doubler on their vocal, on their in and outs, just so it can add like a little vibe. You could probably barely hear this, but this is going to like the Bronxlyn back. All right.
Can't waste time. Before I catch a flight. Just for the week.
And for this, I use the same processing, but I just probably muted a couple of things that I didn't feel like were needed for the background vocal. So the same type of EQ we have, the same type of RVox, same EQ for the RVox to get rid of that muddiness and that boxiness and add brightness. The compression is a little different because I always like to flip my compressions when it comes to background and lead vocals.
Can't waste time.
And it's slight, it's not doing much.
Catch a flight. Just for the
and we have lo-fi just to bring it up a little bit.
Can't waste time.
And this is just a support because I didn't really want it to sound too different from the lead. So all together with the lead, it sounds like this.
In and out of cities, can't waste time.
You
Make
can barely
sure I
hear
hit
it.
it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach, just for the week. Make a couple money moves, break you off a piece. Keep red on your bottom like a murder scene. Double breast, Hugo Boss, know I keep it clean.
It's basically just it's another rhythm thing, but it's basically just giving support to certain words where certain words feel like they're popping out to you a little bit more, but you could barely hear it. It's not something that I really wanted to be super loud and super heard. And then we have the ad-libs. The ad-libs, like I said, what I always just use. I guess I didn't use anything for this. Usually I probably go telephone mode, but I guess for this we didn't need that. So I just kept it the same, and it's going to that same processing as the background.
Off a piece, red on your bottom like a murder scene. Double breast, Hugo Boss, know I keep it clean. West Coast for a year, now she on the east. Keep that passport heavy, fly you out the grease. But money come first, so I gotta leave. No, I circle.
So boom, yeah, that's what we did for all the vocals. So all together, I think I mixed and mastered this. I mastered this using like a Neve protocol, I think, as well as like just throwing like a fab filter on it. And all I did was just tame the low end a little bit, but honestly, I didn't really do much. I just, in terms of like mix bus missing, usually, especially now, I do way more when it comes to like mix bus miss processing just to glue the record all together. But for this record, like I said, I didn't want to change it too much from the demo that we had. We wanted to keep a very similar vibe, especially that the record was like, I was mixing it and I probably had like a couple more days just to get the mix finished so we could put the record out, and we wanted to keep that same vibe. So I didn't do a lot, just slightly on the all vocal bus. Well, I'm taking 1 dB out just to probably take a little bit more mud out, and this is probably just to get a little bit frequency pain out. I took like 1 dB out, but slight changes just to make the vocals a little bit more compatible with the beat, and then that's it. I had this C4, L2, and Neve protocol. I obviously don't have the Neve protocol with me right now, so I can't show you guys what I did with that, but that was basically the whole entire mix, and that's the breakdown. So I'm gonna play it one more time so you can hear what I did, and this is basically what all I did to get the song to sound like this.
Buggy body, this shit.
Bad old shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. We ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right. Bad old shorty from the east side. I'ma do things to make it feel right. We ain't got time, no waste time. So pull up on a nigga, make me feel right. So don't waste my time. Cause we ain't got no time, no waste, no time, no time. And you know I'm gon' hold you down for life, for life. So
Make sure I hit it right before I catch a flight. DC, South Beach, just for the week. Make a couple money moves, break you off a piece. Red on your bottom like a murder scene. Double brass, Hugo Boss, no, I keep it clean. West Coast for a year, now she on the east. Get that passport heavy, fly you out the grease. But money come first, so I gotta leave.
I appreciate y'all tuning in this video. If you like this video, hit the like and subscribe button. If you want to see me do more mix breakdown videos, just let me know in the comments if you want to see me do more videos like this style. I appreciate y'all tuning in. And like always, man, let's get it.